Sorry, at this time, we'll call the meeting back to order. And we're going to go back through these capital projects. I don't think we need a lot more discussion on it. It's strictly a yes or no. All right? And we'll go that way. So Estelle, go ahead.
Okay, so we'll start at the top. Fire master plan.
In favor? Carried? Opposed? Carried. No one opposed?
The zoning bylaw update.
In favor?
Worship, were we not going to get more information on this one?
Are you asking for more information on this?
I'm asking, did we discuss getting more information on this one?
We were, if I may, your worship, I was going to inquire with Dirk at the
Yes.
county level in regards to what this would entail. So we can indicate that one as being pending.
I was going to say we can have that pending prior.
So pending, because of the way the official plan process is being
Correct.
approved,
Correct.
it's cart before horse kind of scenario.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Okay. So that is going to be marked pending, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
The paved road condition assessment.
In favor? In favor? Carried.
The structural analysis at the arena.
In favor? Carried.
The water engineering studies.
In favor? Carried.
The stormwater drainage studies.
In favor? Carried.
Just to know, your worship, we did talk about potentially this being a climate change issue and potentially some federal funding to help with part of it.
Yep.
Thank you.
The ball diamond netting.
In favor? Carried.
The 2012 truck replacement for the rec department.
In favor? Carried.
The 2013 Ford pickup replacement for Public Works.
In favor? Carried.
The 2013 International Replacement Tandem Plow Truck.
In favor? Carried.
The 21-ton tag float replacement.
Favor? Carried.
The compact 4x4 crew cab.
In favor of that? Carried.
The trackless refurbishing refurbishing or replacement. I don't know how you want to proceed with the vote for that one, Mr. Mayor.
I think we can, I don't know if it has to be pending or not, but actually there was some question on warranty on that. Correct?
Absolutely, Your Worship. There was a question on warranty. Is the warranty the same for the refurbished unit as it would be for the new one? And the second questions were around essentially which would be likely delivered quicker.
Correct. Okay, so the only condition we could maybe put on it was that warranties are equal.
If that's the will of council.
I think Councillor Nerda, that was your question.
Okay. And also provided that the warranties are similar. But I would then ask Your Worship, members of council, how would we deal with the delivery time?
I think that's more of for information. We know that refurbishing is approximately 3 months.
That's correct.
So we know that would fit into the time frame.
It
that
would.
You need it. Okay. So, but the big thing is the warranty question, correct? Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay.
Pending equal warranties or similar warranties.
If I may comment, since we are going to have other capital projects that will be pending, why not add this one in the pending as well? And that way council can make a decision having all of the information.
All right. All right. Let's do that.
The bunker gear replacement.
In favor? Carried.
The meter pit installation.
In favor? Carried.
The generator at Ye Old Town Hall, this from the previous discussion would be a placeholder until the fire chief determines the best alternate location for our EOC center.
In favor of that? Pardon me?
This would not be pending. This would be if the fire chief determines that it is in fact the best alternate location, that the purchase of the generator has been approved.
Right, but in terms of another location, the generator go there or not?
Yeah, and it will come back,
Yes.
it will come back to council. This will come back to council for approval.
Well, we wouldn't install it until we know what the location is going to be.
But we
Okay.
already have 12 months. Two generators somewhere.
Correct.
Exactly.
Not just say the
Absolutely,
old town hall.
absolutely not.
In favor? Carried.
The computer life cycle replacement,
Favor? Carried.
the digital sign at Ye Old Town Hall,
In favor? Carried.
the refueling system. Was there questions for that one?
This is, we're going to look at the gas companies, I think it was, to see.
Correct.
Just so that I'm clear, your worship, members of council, this is pending checking with our fuel provider to see if a more economical solution can be provided. Is that it?
Right. It was about helping to fund, correct?
And there was also Councillor Keel's question in regards to our current contract. Is it auto refilling?
Is it
Okay.
auto refilling? Okay.
All right.
So that one is pending.
Pending.
The Elsa Craig Rec Center cooler,
Favor? Carried.
the Elsa Craig Rec Center flooring,
In favor? Carried.
the Elsa Craig wastewater treatment plant roof rehabilitation,
In favor? Carried.
the Mount Carmel Reservoir upgrade design,
Who's in favor? Carried.
the steel roof on the pavilion at the Lurie Ball Diamond,
Are you wanting it pending on the results of our master plan? Or are you saying this needs to be done? Whether,
So my recommendation would be that we do this regardless, because even if there's no baseball there and we want to keep it as a rentable space in order to protect the rest of that structure, it needs a new roof.
okay, just want to clarify. Thank you.
and
In
if I-
favor of
if I
that.
may,
Yeah.
there is also the question in regards to the funding, because right now we have it slotted under tax funded. But the question came whether or not this would be an eligible project for the Community Development Fund. So regardless of what the funding is, we can proceed with approving the project. or not.
Project. Okay, perfect. In favor of that, sorry, on the roofing? Carried. Opposed? One opposed?
The YMCA weight flooring,
Favor? Opposed? One opposed? It is carried.
the Ball Diamond dugout upgrade,
In favor? Okay.
absolutely, for the funding.
In favor? Carried.
The William Street pumping station,
In favor? Carried.
the Station Street, Mill Street intersection catch basin sidewalk improvement,
In favor? Carried.
the sidewalk improvements annual sidewalk repairs,
In favor? Carried.
the road rehab,
In favor? In favor?
I just questions about that, so I'm gonna abstain on that one.
You're going to abstain on that one? Okay, so in favor and opposed and one abstains. It is carried.
the Queen Street water main,
In favor? Uh,
What year?
Well, this.
No,
we are
this for this
currently
year.
looking
This is
at
for this year.
If it is council's wish to postpone it until 2024, then you don't want to approve it in 2023.
Can I ask
Counselor.
a question? Your
Yes.
worship? Do we have a number on the OCIP funding?
Yes, we do. Where did I put it? Here. So OSIF, we currently have a balance of about 1.75 million.
Does that include what we,
That includes the 2023 contribution.
Right.
So I have not removed the contributions already listed here.
oh, so we spent about 350,000.
Yeah,
That's.
So we got
gotta come up.
1.4 million.
yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Approximately that.
And for the gas tax, we have approximately $2 million. Less the 575,000 for the rolling road.
And just to clarify, how much do we get a year in gas tax?
We get just over 400,000.
All right,
Yes.
so the rolling road thing is basically every year, almost gas tax paid.
Absolutely.
Thank you. All right.
All right.
Okay.
One more question on the
Yeah.
water main. If we went to tender this year, would that tender or finish the engineering due to the tender level? Would that still be good for next year? Would we have to do more work?
If we wrap up the engineering and have it tender ready, that can just be shelved and it can be used. If we do defer it to next year, there wouldn't be any additional work required for that.
Okay. Thank you for your
I'd like
answer.
to see it, the engineering get done so we are ready.
Right. Shovel ready. Counselor Irwin.
Just an additional question, because we did discuss this and I'm not sure what the answer is. Is this a 1 year or 2 year project?
It's slated as a 1-year project with 2 phases, correct?
That's correct. It was currently, the current plan is for it to be a 1-year project in 2 phases.
And the other side of this, the county stopped paving Petty Street at the edge of town. And they will then pave up to number 7 once our work is done. That's why they stopped the edge of town. Okay. Counselor Canellis.
I just want clarification from Counselor Daigle. You indicated 2 phases. And are you suggesting that we complete the engineering this year and the project takes place next year? Is that what you're suggesting?
Through you, Mayor. No, I was suggesting that we get the engineering done now so that job is ready to go. So we can drop it at any time. So if we decide to do it in 2023, which is going to be tough now, I would think, to get it, the engineering done and get it in market, get it accomplished. So I expect it's going to be 2024, but I'm not in that line.
I understand that your expertise does not fall with that area. When we vote on this, are we voting on it to be all completed this year,
We're voting on the $8 million project.
for this year?
For this year.
If I may add,
Yes.
the engineering portion of the design is an existing capital project in 2022.
Right.
So what Councillor Daigle is referring to is to complete that project. And it has nothing to do with the $8 million new project that is being proposed in 23.
Right, but we're not voting on the engineering aspect. of
That's
it.
already
Correct.
done.
That's done. that's done.
Yes.
I
And-
got a little confused.
And being shovel ready does make it better for a grant, of course. Counselor Daigle.
Because this is being looked at under future debt, even if we approve it tonight, it's not going to make any difference because we're not going to be going to the debt cycle till the job's done. Am I correct with that?
We would still need to, if we are looking to procure a debt with Infrastructure Ontario, we still need to have the construction loan in place before we proceed with the project.
Just as a follow-up, do we also not discuss exploring grant opportunities?
Absolutely.
So, but that's an unknown at this point.
That's correct.
Correct. But the motion would be to defer this till 2024.
Correct. Well, if council wishes,
If
yes.
council wishes. But so right now, what is put before us is a capital expenditure of $8 million. We're either for it for 23 or we're not. That's this motion. In favor of it. Opposed for 2023.
Well, I just have one question.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Rob. With deferring this till next year, does this in any way have any effect on the Gilrad development? Because this line is running to 3 streets that are servicing that subdivision, the Asaba Bluff subdivision.
So good question. The only way it will affect the Gilrad development is that they will not have adequate fire flow in the same way that the village of Elsa Craig does not have adequate fire flow right now. There is sufficient flow capacity for domestic demand.
Okay.
So we look at those details to work those into the subdivision agreement to make sure it's clear that they understand that that is being developed without full fire flow.
Okay, I get that and I understand that. But at no point in time are we going to have to overlap or do this twice. This is we either have the pipe there or we don't. Either way, they can carry on. Is that correct?
That's correct. So they will tie into the existing water mains. And then when we come through to construct the new water main, we'll just redo those connections.
Thank you.
So one final question, that is, if a grant opportunity were to be available this year, then I would say go ahead with it, but if it's not till next year, then I'd say wait.
If I may,
Yes.
Your Worship, if a grant becomes available and we are successful, then we will bring it back to council at that time for additional approval for 2023.
Okay. So at this time, in favor of this project
In 2023.
in 2023? Opposed? Carry, it is defeated. We are deferring this. Next one.
Queen Street gas main relocation.
In favor of that? Carried.
Fernhill Wood Road culvert replacement design.
In favor? Carried.
And McGuffin Hill slope stabilization.
McGuffin Hills. In favor?
Can I ask one clarifying question?
Yes.
Is any part of this considered climate change? And the reason I ask that is that if it is, we have a possibility of some federal funding for part of it.
But when was the report done on that road?
Your worship, members of council, I have an engineer's a scope of work for that project. And with your permission, if you will, could we leave this pending? I would like to follow up to determine whether or not this actually went to council in a council report. I've got, like I said, that's why I put it in the budget, because I read the scope of it and it's got drawings and a design. And so so that's why I put it in the budget. And I spoke with my lead hand about it and he was like, yeah, this was a concern. This needs to get done. So I said, okay, I'll make sure that it's in the budget. But if it's the will of council, if we could leave it as a pending, I could further support this capital expenditure.
Okay, thank you.
Right.
Councilor Irwin.
There was a reason I asked that, Your Worship, and I see it is under grant here, I believe. So it's OCIP anyways.
That would be gas tax.
Oh, this will be gas tax. Oh, it's road, it's gas tax. My apologies. Okay. However, if we are doing road work in future and it's deemed to be climate change in some part related, then in future, all that road work in part can be funded through some federal resources to help. So I'm looking to see if there's a pattern here that we can establish. That was my only thought.
If I may, Your Worship, we can treat this in the same fashion that we are treating the other two projects in regards to researching whether they qualify for the Community Development Fund. So in essence, council can approve the project and I can further research the funding, whether it will be from gas tax or a climate related grant. portion of each, yes.
Okay. So what is the wish? We've had a recommendation from staff to have this pending?
No, we can,
No, just a minute. Did you not ask to have this pending?
Your worship, I did ask that, as I could sense that, there's definitely some, concern with council with respect to, a report. Did this come before council or not in the past? And I apologize to council for not having absolutely everything nailed down for this, but if you could give me, I'm not exactly sure how we would proceed from here. And I'm wondering if a pending condition, maybe that it would be conditional upon further information.
All right. What's council's wish? I will say that I know that road's they put gravel on that road many times, I think, after a storm. But what's council's wish? Staff is recommendable pending. Councilor Keough. Okay. Pending? All right. Okay, that is the end of our capital.
that is correct. The next slide is just a quick review of, and it's very tiny on the screen. I apologize. It's just that the spreadsheet is very wide, but you can find this in your binder under long range capital forecast. So basically, as discussed in January 18 meeting, the long range capital forecast is a live document that changes, that gets modified, that gets added to, that gets removed. And this is not something that council is approving, that it is set in stone. This is for council information only as a heads up of capital projects required during the next 10 years of for the municipality. So this is just, I've added just the totals for each category and the final total for the 10-year long-range capital forecast is $71,069,850, which includes the $30 million for the wastewater treatment plant. So this is,
But
like
that's
I say,
strictly for an information as a guest for going forward.
the next slide is, again, you have this in your binder under the reserves tab. It is just indicating to council what the totals are at the end of 2022 in our different reserves and reserve funds. Now, I really want to point out that this is unaudited because I have not proceeded with my year-end adjustments and all that fun stuff. So these totals may change slightly. But again, this is for council's information in regards to the reserves that we have on hand. Now, this also brings back Councillor Daigle's comment yesterday in regards to if we wanted to create a reserve for the savings that we are experiencing in 2023 for policing, if we want to create a separate reserve for police.
I respectfully withdraw that idea.
Okay. Thank you. Any other comments on the reserves? Yes, Councillor Canellison.
Just for clarity, Madam Treasurer, CAO, multi-role, these are actual dollars that are in the bank.
These are dollars in the books. Some of them have separate bank accounts with the totals. Some of them are combined in our general operating bank account.
But they're actual dollars.
Yes,
It's not what we purchased or what we got.
that's
set aside.
correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Well, that is a question from
Yes.
past, right? That is a question. Deputy Mayor Hodgins.
Just a quick question to you, Mayor Rob. What is facility reserve? Is that like a recreational arena? What is there an arena reserve or a recreational reserve?
The facility reserve
Is that-
combines all facilities
Okay.
within the municipality.
Okay, who's more?
Yes.
Thank you. Any other questions on the reserves? No other questions on the reserve? Counselor Daigle?
Talk about community development one. Is that the same as one of the economic development?
If you look on the next page, so on the screen, the Community Vibrancy Fund, the Development Fund is part of the Community Vibrancy Fund. Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Other questions on the reserves?
Okay, next tab is the last screen. I would just like to point out to members of council, the average household. So here we're looking at a property that has a $400,000 assessment. So with the 2% property tax increase that is included in the budget, the increase to the resident of a $400,000 property is $64.81. If council decides to go with a 2.5% water wastewater rate increase in 2023, the increase to the taxpayer is $44.79 annually. And if council decides to go with a 5% increase as recommended, the increase is $96.27 annually for a consumption of 180 cubic meters per year. So under my difference in the bottom section of the screen, so with the 2.5% increase, the total annual increase for the ratepayer is $109.60, which represents $9.14 monthly or 30 cents daily. And if council decides to go with the 5% water wastewater rate increase, it is $161.08 annually, $13.43 monthly, or 45 cents daily. This is again for information purposes only. So before we proceed, I believe at this point, we should get council's wish in regards to the water wastewater rate increase.
Okay, we have a few motions to make if council's ready, but we can start with that. We can start with a recommended motion that council approve the water wastewater budget for 2023 and further that the water wastewater rates be established at 2023, representing an increase of 5% or 2.5%. And further, the council supports using the 3-year historic average to establish the user's base charge rate category.
So again, your worship had asked earlier for information regarding if we want to reduce the 3-year average to a 2-year average.
Okay.
So does council wish to not go forward with that motion until that information becomes available?
I'm all right with going forward with this motion and then still having that report come back because I don't expect to see it in the next, few days. So I'm all right with going forward with this, but just finding out the impact on the 2-year. That was more of a general question. So before we vote on the motion, what is council's wish on the rate? Councilor Cornelison.
Thank you, Mayor Rob. I would make the motion or the rates be at 2.5% and the 2-year evaluation period.
Second.
But not the 2-year evaluation period at this time.
Well, the 2 years versus the 3 years for rates. Can we not do that at this time?
No, we have to leave it at 3 at this time. We don't know the impact of 2. That's what
Okay.
we want to get for. So you're saying 2.5%.
My motion would be 2.5% for the water sewer rates.
Is there a seconder for that? Councilor Daigle. In favor of that? Carried. Opposed? 1 opposed. All right, so that's carried. That motion is carried. All right, also further motions that council approve the implementation of a part-time facilities operator 24 hours weekly within the Recreation Department personnel. In favor of that. Counselor Daigle, Counselor Keel, in favor. Carried. That council approved the modification of the fire chief schedule from a part-time position, 28 hours weekly, to a full-time position, 35 hours weekly. Question.
I did make the comment that I would approve it for a period of 1 year to evaluate how successful it was. And if we approve this, is that for the 1 year or is this permanent?
It does not say for the 1 year in this motion.
Can we add, I would propose that we add the 1 year evaluation period.
Okay, is there a seconder for that? A seconder from Counselor Keel. In favor of that with that amendment for a 1 year period. In favor of that? Sorry, do it again. Sorry. Again, in favor of for the one with that motion adding 1 year period. 1, 2, 2 opposed to that? Or, okay, so that's opposed. Well, again, we need another motion then. Counselor Daigle. With the original motion? Okay, a seconder? Counselor Irwin, in favor of that? 5 in favor, opposed? 2 opposed? Okay, that is carried. Next motion that council approve the operational and capital budgets for 2023, resulting with a tax levy of $8,634,511 and set the residential tax rate at 0.00824,625, which represents an increase of 2% from 2022. Moved by Councillor Daigle, seconded by Deputy Mayor Hodgins. All in favor? Carried. That's it. Because we did the water, wastewater already. Anything else before we move to adjourn? Move to adjourn. Councillor Irwin, Councillor Nerda, all in favor? Carried.
You forgot my last slide, Your Worship. Thank you. It's
Well-
approved.